Alright, thanks man. Three stars. Quite loud. Kind of smelly.
James, what took you so long? Seriously, we got the GTRs ready to go to the canyons.
I
It
just
took forever to get here.
I got unlucky. It's Uber. It's a bit of a lottery, isn't it?
Okay.
Wait a second. Forgot my sunglasses. Sorry. And I'm James, and this is the 2024 Nissan GTR.
But why would you buy one when you can buy one of these, which is the exact same car, albeit a little bit slower, for a lot less money?
The R35 generation Nissan GTR. It first hit North American roads in 2008, and nothing has quite been the same since. It made supercar owners sweat bullets. A Nissan that can hit 60 miles an hour quicker than a V12 Lambo, and for well under $100,000. What? It was an all-wheel drive Godzilla that did challenge the status quo, and one that can now be had used for kind of what it cost new 15 years ago, actually, yeah. But even today, the performance numbers of this 2009 hold up. Speaking of up, new GTRs have since crossed a sacred line, the $100,000 line, and this one, outfitted with gilded shoes and some other fancy bits, crosses that line confidently. So, is it worth buying it new? And does the old one feel old now? Let's find out. And if you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing about. So subscribe, hit the bell.
James?
Yes.
Is this the first time that we've done an old versus new episode where the cars are from the same generation?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also, I think we've done old versus new episodes where the cars are closer in year and from different generations.
Yes. This is the 16th model year of this generation.
Yeah.
You could have had this as your dream car in middle school. And now you could be a father of two with a job for many years.
You'd be 30.
And buy this brand new. So dreams can come true.
See that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a go in that. But before you do, as you saw at the beginning, Pelote did sponsor this video. Eh? We've been wearing these nonstop. We'll have a discount code for you at the end. But until then, have fun. Use your Pelotes. I heard legend says they give you 5 more horsepower.
For each foot?
Yeah.
An extra 5 horsepower because I already have 565. That's a big jump from the 2009. And yes, the GTR modding community are laughing at me right now saying, James, I think you'll find that's 3 digits instead of 4. I know these are a modder's paradise, but right now, on this road, this thing feels properly quick. And horsepower isn't the only thing the 2024 has. In addition to its slightly revised face, 2024 celebrates the return of the T-Spec trim, which this is. It commands a pretty hefty price jump, considering that it has the same power number as the base GTR has had for years, but for your extra 20,000 American smackaroos and almost $50,000 in Canada, it inherits a bunch of Nismo goodies, like carbon ceramic brakes, as well as wider front fenders, Nismo dynamic vehicle control, and gold versions of the Nismo's forged wheels. It also gets a bunch of other fancy tidbits inside and out, which we'll talk about in a minute. Also, it sounds good. And a GTR R35 has always sounded good. It's always been a wave of induction sound and theatre. But now, this has an exciting exhaust. On the upshift, barks. But then on the downshift, it kind of spreads out that bark and it becomes like an old man belly laugh. It's like, that's kind of fun, I like it. That means that there's now theatre in front of me and behind me, which is exactly what I want in a sports car. And because this is all-wheel drive, there's also power in front of me and behind me. The confidence that comes with accelerating in a GTR is right up there. There's also little lights on the gauge cluster that flash as I approach the red line. It's very obvious when you drive a GTR that Nissan prioritized everything to do with power and performance and enjoyment. So yeah, it's a bit compromised. It's a brute. The tires are translating a lot of noise to the cabin. The transmission still makes strange sounds that suggest it's broken, but it's not. And actually, over time, it's had updates. This is a much smoother transmission than I remember in the older GTRs. It doesn't clunk you around town, but as far as I remember, when you're actually hauling arse, it's always been pretty quick on the shifts, and this is no less true in the 2024. Also, the ride is normally a point of criticism for the R35 GTR, but that's also had updates over the years. This, in its harshest mode right now, is not bone-breaking. On this same road with a McLaren Artura in race mode, it destroyed you. It was untenable. This is fine. It's just doing a great job of communicating to me what's under my feet. Where that communication breaks down is the steering, because whilst it feels sharp and accurate, it just feels over boosted. It doesn't weigh up much, even in the corners. It's gone too Grand Toury, and this is a GTR. It's a Grand Tourer racer. So the steering in that part has kind of lost a bit of the racing vibe. I don't have that same level of confidence in the corners. Everything else about the R35 GTR has improved a lot, which is good. Because since it came out, a lot of sports cars have come out. And for the price this is asking, it's not the only thing out there. Like the BMW M8, or the new Corvette Z06, or a 911, an AMG GT, a GT500, F-Type Rs, an Aston Martin. The list goes on. And don't even get me started on the Nismo, which in Canada is the same price as a f***ing Ferrari, excuse my French. But more importantly, does this 2024 T-Spec feel twice the price of a 2009 GTR? Either way, there's no question, this thing has gotten outrageously expensive.
But if you zoom out, GTRs as a whole are kind of nutty in price. These are R32s, for example. That one's a Nismo. They're about 150 grand. R34s routinely go north of 200 grand. But if you go back even further in time, you get to this, which, depending on who you ask, is either the coolest Uber ever or the GTR that started it all, the Hakosuka. And these almost hit $500,000. This at $60,000 a steal, because you're getting quite a lot of performance. But these R35 GTRs have changed quite a bit over the years.
When the R35 GTR first came out, it was immediately different to every other Nissan. We've all heard the stories about how the 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 engines were built in a hermetically sealed lab, and how a zillion computer calculations every second kept it glued to the road. But even though those things remained true over every model year, Nissan was constantly tweaking and changing the R35. Earlier models had a clunkier transmission, a more unreliable launch control, a cheaper interior, and harsher suspension. And compared to the new one James is in, and compared to the numbers we see in many modern cars, this first year, 2009, only made 480 horsepower.
But that doesn't feel slow at all. I've always liked that engine. I've just always liked it. I like the sound of it. I like the way it feels like it's blowing up as it gets near the red line. Oh, it moves. That really moves. Still, after all these years, it still impresses you. I mean, we've driven some very quick cars. I've driven some very quick cars. And every time I get back into GTR, old, new, whatever, and you pull away in first gear, you almost forget to shift if you're shifting manually, because first gear runs out so quickly and it just puts the power down. Oh, these are actually fun cars to drive, and I had a weird relationship with the GTR over the years. I've gone through, since it's been around for so friggin' long, I have gone through all the stages of liking it, disliking it, not caring about it, being reminded that it exists and it's still in production. And I find that these days, every time I get in an R35 GTR, I tend to enjoy it a little bit more. But you know what? Just driving it right now, even by modern standards, this is not a slow car, and it is an absolute weapon in the corners. But it does corners its own way. It goes about the business of generating grip and blasting you out of the corner in a very unique GTR-like fashion that nothing else seems to feel like. When I can accelerate blindly out of a corner in one of these and say, that's a GTR. Just by the way, it shifts the power front to rear. You just plant your foot and you feel the car sorting everything out for you. I didn't used to like that very much, but I'm enjoying it now because I'm enjoying what feels like quite a mechanical, weirdly analog connection to this car. I'm enjoying that I can tell what it's doing. Modern cars these days end up being mysteries. You don't know what it's doing. It sorts so many things out for you and you go, wow, I'm a great driver. This one is doing everything for me, but at the very least, I can tell what it's doing and when.
Probably explains why the old one has kept its value so well. The GTR experience isn't for everyone, but for those who want to own this, that is, a physical manifestation of Japanese performance engineering, well, at least you've got a large pool to choose from.
And thank you to Pelotti for supporting this video. As Thomas mentioned earlier, we have a discount code for you for a special holiday promotion.